Hi there, this is Dave Hill, and you're listening to CATtales, and they're really good tales.
You're listening to CATtales. Baby.
Hi, I'm Kat, and you're listening to CATtales. Dave Hill is a national treasure. Half a century after Slade's first hit, surviving a stroke, depression and the departure of his former bandmates, Dave is still going strong and entertaining Slade fans with live performances of the band's hits, 17 consecutive top 20 and 6 number ones to be precise. We chat about Slade's forthcoming tour, their latest box set release, All the World is a Stage, what's next on the horizon, and how Dave put on his Batman cape to emerge as one of the greatest glam rock icons of the era. This is The One with Dave Hill. So welcome to the show, that's what I'm going to say to start with. We did meet, you know, Dave. This was going back about 9 years. As I said, we met at King's Lynn, and I don't know how many times you've done King's Lynn Corn Exchange. That could have been the one and only time, I think. But it was a fantastic show, and I met you backstage beforehand in the afternoon, and we had an absolutely wonderful chat.
Yeah.
I just want to now fill in the blanks from 9 years ago. So we're talking 2013 when we last spoke. So quite a few
Really?
things.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, quite a few things will have happened. You're now going back on tour again, obviously, with your Christmas show, because this is the fabulous time of year for Slade, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what's been the highlights for you over the last 9 years since I spoke to you last?
You know, I think it's probably since that particular date you've just mentioned, because in 2010 I had a stroke, you see, and I thinking, you know, I got over that, and then I went back on the road. So I reckon anything after that, I think I had a grandchild as well. So there was a lot going on, particularly. But I think in the years since I spoke to you, I guess that it's been business as usual, possibly with the gigs and where we've been playing. Some new destinations, probably. I mean, I've been to Greenland since, which was wonderful. Half the audience were Eskimos, and it was really singing "Come On, Feel the Noise" is really quite amazing. You know, I took my wife. Yeah, oh yeah, that was great. I mean, I think I've done, because I've been back on the road since '91. You see, so 1991 I returned to the road, and I guess we've covered so much territory over the years. It's hard to think of any particular thing. I think most years, each year rolls into the next year, you know, so it's like it wasn't COVID then, but it would be X amount of work, and then it would be the following year, you know, with X amount of work. Norway, Sweden and places like that, pretty regular. Finland. I think I went to Russia. I think I did a couple of shows there.
I was going to say, out of all these fantastic places that you've played, though, I mean, which ones really stick in your mind? I'm guessing somewhere like Greenland, that is so unusual and so different to living in the UK. That must have been, you know, a bizarre kind of situation, really, because the first language, obviously, like many other countries, aren't English. But standing up there and singing, you know, "Come On, Feel the Noise," and they're all joining in, that must be amazing.
Well, I know it's Danish speaking as well as the local dialect as well, and I just thought we're going there, and I thought take the wife because it's freezing cold, and that you have to go out early, like, you know, and you have a day off, you know, before you even do the show. You've got some time to enjoy yourself, and which is what we did. And we bought some woolly jumpers, you know, because they know a bit about woolly jumpers there, you know. And they took us out. They took us out on a couple of little boats. They do it always for all the bands, and we went past enormous icebergs. and we'd all got furry hats on because we brought furry hats with us, because it was definitely like Russian freezing. And it's a beautiful place, by the way. It's a beautiful place.
I'd love to go.
And snowy at the time. And it was just interesting to do something completely different, and a lot of those sorts of things have happened to me in a sense, I did a show in Bahrain once, and we played on a stage by a swimming pool. I've never done anything like that before, and I've never been to that country, although Baldy not as well. But I've played in so many places. Spanish bull rings, I've played there. It's sort of large shows, big ones in Germany, where the Stones played, the Valbuna in which is East Berlin, actually. I mean, as I say, it could be a small gig, it could be a pub, and then again, pubs abroad are not quite pubs, but
yeah.
But then it can be a huge festival with thousands of people. That's what it's been like over the years. Is just
you've done
a
it
roster
all.
Yeah, I've certainly done a lot, and I mean, it's your passion. It's what I enjoy doing, and what I've done ever since I was, I don't know, 18 when I turned professional. That's what I've done. When I left my desk job at Tarmac, and in the days when I used to put my stage gear in a polythene bag and put it in the drawer, in our little office, and I little joke like I used to say, oh well, you know what I do. I go in the toilet and I change and I come out as Superman, when they go into the phone box, and around comes the van, you're in the van, but I haven't got a cape.
It's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, the days of from those beginnings where you were setting the trend with the fashions, weren't you? You knew very, very early on, didn't you, that the power of public relations, marketing, the fashion element, having something different. Was that just like an instinct for you, Dave? Because it's amazing how you've made that your own.
I think it's somehow, I think, when I found what I wanted to do in life, and I mean, when I turned professional, obviously, I was 18, and I guess it was around about the time of the Beatles' success and all that. It really had a big influence on me. But I'd always felt that when I got my confidence, because I wasn't confident at school, you didn't have the right hairstyle or this and that, it wasn't like I was a bit, people don't know that about me, but I tend to be a little bit of a loner at school because I felt a bit of a misfit, not being great at my lessons and things like that. So I was always getting into some sort of trouble. I had a couple of good mates, that we both got in trouble, and stupid things we did. But I think when I found the guitar, I think I found a purpose. And then when Mum and Dad allowed me to turn professional when I was 18, I knew I could grow my hair without having to wear short back and sides for an office job, and I looked a great deal better growing my hair because my ears are slightly big, so they stick out. So I thought this looks good. I can cover them, I mean, girls can be a bit cruel at school, Well, they can, can't they?
Absolutely.
I'm not going out with you
because of your ears. Oh, I can't believe that.
Yeah, you're not bad looking, but your ears bother me. I'm just throwing that in as a joke, but it was a bit like that.
I won't laugh at you when you boo-hoo-hoo, 'cause I love you. I can turn my back on the things you like, 'cause I love you.
Hi there, this is Dave Hill, and you're listening to Cat's Tales, and they're really good tales. And I think I with the clothes situation, I just think it came natural for me to sort of want to wear something bright. I experimented with it really early on, from the point of view there wasn't Carnaby Street up in the Midlands, and there wasn't Kensington High Street or anything like that in the Midlands, and you couldn't get unusual clothes in the Midlands anyway. You'd have to go to London. But I remember going in, believe it or not, it was a ladies' shop in Warsaw, I think it was, and I saw this blouse. It was a blouse actually, with a big bow, and it was yellow like satin. And I thought, I thought this is going to be a bit awkward. Can I try that blouse on? It's a bit sort of like, And the thing about the idea of satin was that I put it on, to the bass player looking at what you're doing with a woman's blouse on. You see, I said it'll look different on stage, and I stuck it out, and I knew really it was down to me doing what I wanted to do. And I went on stage, and there's a few people there that see us regularly, and they came backstage, and I was waiting for a comment. He said, "Blimey, Dave," he says, "really love that shirt you got on." And I'm going, I look at the others and I told you. It always looks different at a distance. Yeah. Because, these weren't big gigs. These were mecca ballrooms or, clubs that we played in. But I knew that it had an impact. And then I remember one time I bought a sort of cape, like sort of conquistador, or like D'Artagnan or something. I bought this cape, and I bought this hat like the Three Musketeers wear, right? And I thought, right, I'm going to test this. So I went walking through Wolverhampton, and I went through I think it was Marks and Spencers or something like that. I was walking through, and I could see the people. Oh, what a look at him over there, and it's I quite liked it. I thought, I'm getting a bit of attention. Maybe I was trying to get a bit of attention, you see. And I think that principle developed in me, that I had the cheek to try it. Someone said to me once, I put this really peculiar hat on in one of the markets. I think it was in Brum. And I said, does this hat look stupid on me? She says, no, definitely does not look stupid on you. It might on somebody else. And I thought it was kind of a definitive thing. Yeah. She knew that I wore bizarre clothes anyway, so it was a bit like, no, it doesn't look stupid on me. On you, in fact, you can get away with it, and I think really, the principle of the flamboyance developed, you see, and when eventually we met Chas Chandler, who was the guy that managed us and encouraged us to write songs, he saw us in a club in London, and he was really impressed with us because he'd heard about us, and we thought, well, this is the great Chas Chandler. He's the manager of Jimi Hendrix, and he'd come to see us play in this club, and he was watching us, and he was like recognising the personalities, because we've always kind of had that, grinning and nod with his voice, and there was always something going on with us, always. And this is before the real flash clothes, but he saw us, and he was so encouraging. He come over and he was so impressed with us. He just said, I want a manager, and it was just like, and we were signed to an agent then, so, you couldn't just drop the agent, but obviously he bought us out of the contract anyway. Funny enough, I think he bought us for 500 quid, which is a pretty good deal, really, when you think about
Well,
it.
yes, in
But
those
but
days.
500 quid was a little bit more money in
It
1969, of
was.
course. But you
But
know,
when you put it in perspective of the success, it was a good buy,
oh
wasn't it?
well, it was, in the Midlands, it was a bit like, well, you best go with him. We're not going to be able to offer you what he's going to offer you, and of course. But the thing about Chaz was, you know, when I started to wear the clothes I was making at home, spraying silver. I got this can of car paint silver, and I sprayed this woman's coat. I've got this long coat, and I was wearing laced up boots, not with heels, but laced up boots. And you used to shove these like what were they? Crushed velvet,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
post hippie trousers into the red lace up boot. I think the boots were my wife's, actually. And I don't know how he even got it in, actually, because she's quite small footed. But I put that in, but I tucked it in there. And then and I think this was later on in my career, and I was experimenting. I sprayed this on it, and and then I sprayed this one thing against the door in the posh front room, and didn't think to put paper behind the actual long coat while I was spraying.
Oh, no.
So an imprint of the coat was actually on the door,
Oh, terrific.
and much to the disgust of my dad, who told me I should have gone outside to do anything like that. You stupid son, what do you think you're doing? And but I mean, in a way, I think I wasn't confident at school, but somehow I found something. I found as if you're kind of in control of your own destiny somehow. I think it was a question that if I was having to go to people and go, well, I don't think I know what I want to wear, then you're going to get opinions. And I didn't go to anybody. I mean, I wore some funny stuff. Even my wife thinking of what you're wearing, or something like that, But it wasn't a question of getting approval from people, because I think some of the things were so bizarre that there's only me that probably had the guts to wear them. And
Oh,
actually,
absolutely.
I mean, I don't know what your memories of the past are, but
I can remember it. I can certainly remember that. I can see you now on top of the pops in those boots. I can see
yeah.
those boots in front of me now as you're speaking.
Well, I mean, the aspect of the blouse. Also, I found a pair of women's boots that's got a heel on them, and there were slightly stripes at the side. It was unusual, because the only problem with ladies' boots is that heel isn't good with guys stomping around the place. You break the heel off, You sort of, if you go down an embankment, you find that the heel is up at the top of the embankment, and you slip on your bum, you're falling down. It was a bit like that. Oh, where's my heel gone? I've lost a few inches. Oh, it's up the top there, mate, and it's in the mud.
You feel our pain
right
now, don't you, Dave? You feel the pain.
Yeah, I did, and I think really when, as I said, we developed and we were experimenting and things like that, we did get sidetracked a little bit, because we were trying to become successful. We had long hair, we looked pretty good, and then this idea cropped up to become a skinhead group, because there was no band for skinheads, and it seemed an idea. Just problem was it chopped your hair off, so here comes the ears again. And so I thought it wasn't probably. We felt we should do it because our manager was a good guy and it seemed a good idea, but we kind of, it didn't really work. It got us known, but as a period of a year went by, we realised it wasn't really working. But that's how the hairstyle came. I mean, the hairstyle came from growing my hair from the skinhead image to long hair at the sides and a short fringe, and that became my iconic look. It came out of chopping all your hair off and then growing it, and I thought, I think it was like a short page boy fringe. I had this idea. I thought, well, I'll make it short because your hair was a little bit thicker. And then I remember seeing Mark Bolan wearing a tear thing under his
Oh yeah.
eye, and I quite like the glitzy bit, you know. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting. And then I suddenly thought, you know, I've got this forehead. I wouldn't mind putting a bit of glitter on the because I had the room, you know, because my fringe is short, you know. So I thought, I'll put a bit of glitter in there, and oh, that's interesting. And then I saw a little bit on my cheeks, and it just went from there. Then it was in my hair, right? You know, and I remember one Christmas, you know, those streamers, they're like silvery thing,
Yes.
and they sell them in the shops. And it was just one time I went in there, you know, and it was like, oh, could I have a batch of those? They're only thin. What we can do is cut them up, and then they stick on your hair. You know, I put a spray, and I stuck them on the hair on top of the pots, and it was just like a walking Christmas tree. And it's really funny because I used to use hairspray for the glitter to stick on. That's what I used to do. And as I say, once the clothes started, which actually was in Kensington Market, I went to Kensington Market, and this is before I was wearing glitter. But I went in there, and there was some people making those long leather coats. And I remembered the fact that I had this thin woman's coat with moons on. There was all sorts of cosmic stuff when I sprayed it. But then when I went in there, I thought, well, there's a couple of West End dudes, you know, going, oh yeah, we can make you anything, mate, you know, yeah. And then there was this guy there, and I said, oh, that's a really nice leather coat. Could you make it in silver? He said, I can make it in blue or black or whatever you like, mate. So, you know, I thought, yeah, really good, long coat. It reminded me of the one I had before, you see, but in leather, it looked absolutely brilliant, you see. So, but the one thing missing was boots, and I was thinking about height and looking good and all this tuck-in trousers in. And then I came across this bloke in Kensington Market, and he was making, I saw a singular platform. I thought, oh, this is interesting. And then he showed me another one, and there was two platforms, you know, and I thought, it's flipping heck. And I don't know if I don't remember meeting, but I believe Freddie Mercury was working in the store when we were buying stuff from there. And this guy said, I said, how high can you go? He said, well, look, you can go as high as you like, but what we have to do is balance it by having the heel higher, you see. So if you go high on the front, right, you don't want to drop down on the back. So he said, so I can make the heel longer and you can have the platform, you see. And I thought, that looked brilliant. So I stood in it and I went, wow. And you know, when you went kind of tight clothes, you're looking slimmer because you look taller. Because being small, you see, and I thought, well, that just looks really. There's something about this, and of course, this is just before the glitter thing took off with me. But I got him to make them, and he said, and then he made me a pair where each layer was a different colour. And you might have seen those boots, but they're like, they're almost a bit club foot, if you know what I mean. But you can do layers of colour, you see, like a layered cake, you know, instead of going down. Fantastic. And he did that, and then he made me a pair to match my silver jacket. And what it was, I remember Reeves and Mortimer copied it when they did this thing called Slade's House, you know, and they were taking us off. And he's got my outfit just perfectly as it was, you know, with the hairstyle and the knee length boots. And this bloke made me these knee length boots, which it was great stuff, you know. And as I say, you get in that market in Kensington, there were individual store holders, and they'd all got something different to offer. You know, hats or trousers and things like. It was a really exciting time, and there was always a smell of essence of petunia. I can always remember that.
Yeah.
It was almost like something, you know, a little bit post-hippie times when people used to smell of this essence of petunia, and used to wander around there, you know, because I think probably Bolan went in there and people like that, but it was just one of those, and it was right opposite Bieber. Do you know that store
Oh,
called
yes,
Bieber?
that's right, yes.
Yeah, which was a real retro-y, arty what's it shop. You know, you go in there and never really buy anything, but it was a bizarre. It was an in store to be in, you see. And I used to go across the road to the market and get this stuff. It was so exciting. I used to go down on the train, you know, and then go down on the tube and, you know, wander around. This is a bit, I mean, obviously I couldn't go down in the tube once I started to become known, because all of a sudden you can't do that, you know. You have to go in a cab, you know, and then you got the cab driving. Oh no, you're that bloke. But yeah, I am that bloke. He said, where are you going, mate? And then you end up going there, and he said, well, no charge, mate. Great. Oh yeah, I like that. No tip.
Fabulous.
No tip.
I've seen the yellow lights go down the Mississippi. I've seen the bridges of the world, and they're for real. I've had a red light off the wrist without me even getting kissed. It still seems so unreal. I've seen the morning in the mountains of Alaska. I've seen the sunset in the east and in the west. I've sang the glory that was Rome and passed the hound dog singers home. It still seems for the best. And I'm far, far away, with my head up in the clouds. And I'm far, far away, with my feet down in the crowds. Letting loose around the world, but the call of home is loud, still as loud. I've seen the Paris lights from high upon Montmartre, and felt the silence hang below in no man's land. And all those Spanish nights were fine, it wasn't only from the wine, it still seems all in hand. And I'm far, far away, with my head up in the clouds. And I'm far, far away, with my feet down in the crowds. Letting loose around the world, but the call of home is loud, still as loud. I've seen the yellow lights go down the Mississippi. The Grand Bahama Island stories carry on, and all those alligator smiles stay in your memory for a while. There still seems more to come. And I'm far, far away, with my head up in the clouds. And I'm far, far away, with my feet down in the crowds. Letting loose around the world, but the call of home is loud, still as loud.
Hi there, this is Dave Hill, and you're listening to CATtales. The leading to all this with Chaz, when I got this one outfit that I decided, because I had a couple of people making clothes in the Midlands eventually, because I couldn't get the type of clothes I wanted in the market. And I said, well, look, I want something different here. And we were experimenting with broad shoulders, you know, like baseball players. And we wanted it kind of, you know, wider shoulders, a little bit like what Kiss were wearing after us. But it was that idea with knee pads and boots and all that. And just funny, just one time I was fiddling around with something at Dad's again. And Nod had got circular mirrors on his top hat, you see, and I knew it reflected the light, and it was great. So I bought a load of really big circular, you know, if somebody's got an idea, I'll make it bigger. So I made, and I got this very long, almost like a nun's uniform, and I thought, I could stick that on there, and it will reflect the light, you see, so it won't be black. And I said, oh, this looks interesting. And my hairstyle I thought my hairstyle was a little bit Egyptian looking. So I thought, I'll have a headdress. And so I got some small circular mirrors. And I had this netting stuff, and it was silver, right? And my sister was fiddling around sewing it to fit my head. And it had got a short bit, you see, and it comes down at the side. You know, like the Egyptians, they seem to have a straight, something at the side, if you remember the Egyptian look, you know. And so I put it together, and I thought, right, I think I'll, you know, and Come On Feel the Noise was going to be released, you know, it was going to, we were doing Top of the Pops before it was in the shops, right? So we got Top of the Pops because they wanted to put us on, because they thought, oh, I'll be it anyway. So I went down, and of course I'd never tell the guys what I was going to wear. Because I'm not going to see, they're not going to watch me change and them laughing at me, right? So I thought, well, I'll just disappear into the toilet area of the Top of the Pops dressing room, and I was in there, and Nod was listening through the door, you see, and he could hear the hairspray going, you know, just trying to imitate the noise. So it was obviously me fiddling around with something in there, and I'd put this headdress on, and then I'd come walking out, and I've got platforms on as well, right? So I come walking out, and it was like, it was almost like the bass player went, you know, as if like a disapproval, and that it was almost like the Cadbury Smash advert, you know, when they fall on the floor and they say, do you know the advert, the Cadbury Smash? They all lie on the floor and they eat them, you know, they eat them with the metal knives. And I come out, and because Nod's going, reveal Mr. H. They call me H for Hill, so reveal Mr. H. He says, oh yeah, so I'll just go and make the impact, right? You see, I expect a reaction, but I'm going to buy into it. You see, water off the duck's back. And so I come out, and I got this outfit, and Chazzy's looking at me. They're all laughing, and Chazzy's going, "Oh, Dave," you know, a bit sort of really encouraging, like, I think we're gonna have another number one hit, you know, or something like that, you know. And I sort of, you know, Nod's always been okay, you know. And the bass player sitting there going, "You're not going to wear that, are you?" You know, I won't stand next to you. I don't want you to. I want the limelight. No. And I just said to him, I says, "You write them and I'll sell them." You know, and that's a really true story. And I went on Top of the Pops with the outfit, right, and it did look really bizarre. You know, people looking at, what the heck's he got on, and the reaction to it was the record shot to number one, and I think we knocked Rod Stewart off the top. Wow. And there was some joke, and I think it was what's his name, Ronnie Wood, at the Faces, said something funny about me in the paper. Oh, he says, it's that it's that bloke in Slade's fault. It's gone to Norway.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's him. You know, like he's only tongue in cheek.
Yeah, of course.
Or a bit like I never liked you with them clothes. I mean, I think. I mean, some people might say, "Gosh, did you ever get embarrassed?" But I never did, because I think really, because you're not singing the songs, the aspect of the attention is different, you see. So when you're moving around, I'm usually bobbing around the singer or something like that, And the cameramen at Top of the Pops are always into an angle shot or something. If you've got something bizarre on, they're going to focus on it, So they had no problems with the outfit. And I said, well, I thought it was Egyptian, you see. And then somebody apparently saw it and thought I was a metal nun.
Oh, lovely.
I know,
Fantastic.
I quite like that. Yeah, the
Oh,
metal
that's
nun costume.
fantastic. But you see, Top of the Pops was great for that. What a showcase, to be able to showcase the music, showcase the look. It was all there. It was a magic time, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it really was.
It was. And we were kind of appearing on Top of the Pops quite frequently. And we kind of got on with the people at Top of the Pops. We knew everybody by name, because we were on there quite a lot. We knew Pants people, we knew all the dancers and all the stuff, and it become. I mean, if you think about it, it was Radio 1 and Top of the Pops, the most two important things in our country. No commercial radio. Top of the Pops, Radio 1,
exactly.
governed the whole thing, and everybody sat around to watch Top of the Pops, because it was an event on Thursday to watch it, and whatever. And there's another thing about Top of the Pops is, if you perform badly on Top of the Pops, if you don't come across well, your record can actually drop.
Oh, yeah.
So when we went on there, we always went on to rehearse, and then we went on with our costumes. Then the guys decide what shots they're going to do, so it was all ready to go, and it was always exciting. Whether it was Tony Blackburn or Peter Powell and what was his name, Kid Jensen, and all the Daily Travellers. There was loads of them, and
all the radio.
It was always like, oh, here they are, and we were quite popular at Radio 1, because they used to get us to come up and sing the Christmas song live, the studio with a few of the DJs. I mean,
it's a gift, isn't it? The Christmas song keeps on giving, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it keeps on giving. But the stories around the clothes, and as I say, all the things that I wore. I mean, remember one time I went to America and I got a pair of Spurs, and I thought, oh yeah, Spurs, and I got these platform shoes and these boots and knee lengths, and they got a big dollar sign along down the side. You see, I thought, oh, I'll get a pair of Spurs.
Fantastic.
and then of course I went on Top of the Pops with the Spurs on, and I mean, everybody remembers that, because I had this really white silk costume on as well, really reflectory, and I think it was when the Christmas song made #1 that I wore that. But the thing is, the point is that the music we did is paramountly important to us and our image. In other words, they both need each other. You've got to dress it well. You've got to do it, and I think not with his top hat and his sideboards and all the rest of it. It's all part of the image. I mean, and people remember. They remember. It's not a downer. It's a bit like, oh, isn't it a great time? Oh, colour television, and that's another thing. Colour television came in, and of course,
it did. This is it, isn't it? It was just at that perfect time for all of this, wasn't it? And it was, the 70s as well was quite dire, wasn't it? It was dark, and there was the 3-day week, and the electricity cuts, and all that kind of stuff. People were ready for something a little bit more bright and cheerful.
Well, they certainly were, because I think it was not dissimilar to, trouble these days and the power cuts and all sorts of stuff were going on in 1973. And the Christmas song, I think, there's no doubt about it, the Christmas song was a fantastic idea. And it was original, and it was different, and it wasn't a Jingle Bell song. It was a song about what people do, getting around families, trees, grannies dancing, and stockings.
And that's why it's living on, isn't it? Let's be honest. People still love that because it people can relate to it, can't they?
Yeah, people can relate to it, and I think it lifted everybody at the time that things were on a low, and and it's not dissimilar to now. There's strikes going on, and problems with the railways, and who's the next mob to sort of say they're not getting enough money and stuff. And it's difficult times, and I don't want to keep going on about that because we've come out of the pandemic and then various other things and Brexit, which, well, for me, I didn't buy into that anyway. I thought we should have stayed, but there you go. It's actually difficult travelling now. It's not quite the same, when you go abroad. You have you can't just go whizzing through the Euro section, the EU section, But as I say, things change, and but I think the 70s in particular, you've had the 60s and wonderful music, but it was very much a black and white world. Was the 60s? You couldn't see colour on TV. It was all black and white, but in the 70s you can imagine it's like an explosion, isn't it? People wanted colour. They wanted to see it like the movies, like when they've gone to a coloured film, and they're seeing you in bizarre costumes, and I know, and what was the name now? Jay out of Bucks Fizz was on about it, because I think she was 11 years of age. She said, I only tuned in to Top of the Pops to see what you'd wear.
I think a lot of people probably did that, to be fair, Dave. I think they did.
Tuned in to see what you wear. And the thing is, it being remembered, and nobody could even equate that all those years ago that I'd be having this conversation with you, and that's how it is.
Yeah, and it still is relevant, really, because it's the people who come to see you now and are still into listening to the music are the same people, aren't they? They've grown with you, and they're introducing another dimension, another audience. Their children and their grandchildren, and I'm sure you've got that mix of people coming to see you because all the songs are so uplifting.
Yeah, and that's the purpose of me doing these selection of dates. Obviously we're doing several dates in England mainly, and I think really it's the purpose of reminders. There's always something on TV. I mean, Nod's got this little ad going with not now, I think it's for Iceland or something like that. He was telling me about it because he came to see me the other week, and we're having a laugh about it. I mean, it's just okay. At this time of year, I could be invited round to anybody's house.
Probably could. with your glittery outfits, probably.
Yeah, he said, because they say, have you still got any of those outfits? I said, I think the difficulty now is getting in them, never mind having them. I think some of them it's kind of shrunk and...
they have, haven't they?
Sweated in, and they wouldn't last very long anyway. Not leather anyway, they wouldn't last. But the thing is, just picking on the theme of it all, that you have a boy from Wolverhampton, and I think really going from not a great school life to being a bit shy to then finding something, in music, and that's so true, is that the first love was playing the guitar to sound like Hank Marvin, or play one of those instrumentals, is how I first got a feeling when I played something that was number one. It was one of the Shadows numbers, Theme for Young Lovers, I think, and I really felt it when I played it, and then the audience were clapping. I thought, I quite like this, it's quite a nice feeling, and I sort of got off in it, you know. I thought,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, a reaction. I know that with a lot of performers, they suddenly go, oh, that's happened. You know, it does happen to people, you know.
Yeah, it switches something in you, I think, doesn't it really? And it's then
Yeah,
in your blood, isn't it? And you want a little bit
it,
more of it.
yeah, that's right. And, you know, and it's always funny when you first make it, you know, and I was still living at mum's and dad's, and then you sort of, you know, that thing where the curtain moves and somebody's looking, and they go, there he is, he's over there. He was a little son, so he was when he was young.
Yeah,
He's
I
like,
bet.
I used to tell him off. You know,
Fantastic, isn't it?
I used to tell him off. I used to tell him off. But no one knows. It's just, I guess, really, even from the little group I had on the council estate, that I didn't know where it would lead me. And I think it was just a question, even when I went professional, it was just a question of freedom and traveling and that kind
Yeah.
of thing that really encouraged me. And then the rest followed, you know, with a natural process. Because we were always entertaining people, even as a young band. We always understood. We used to stand on tables and dance around and silly things we used to do. And if there was somebody in the audience that was interested, sometimes we'd get them up, you know, and it become part of the act, you know.
Superb. So this
There's a,
live performance is in your blood, isn't it, really, Dave? It's great to hear that as a schoolboy, you know, you were, you know, you're more shy and, you know, reserved. And then it's almost like putting on that cape, isn't it? That cape or that cloak went on and it just
yeah,
transformed you into someone different.
yeah, it's like the Superman thing, isn't it? You know, that, I mean, when I ever saw Superman when I was a kid, you know, obviously I stood at the top of the stairs with a cape and I was trying to think, I wonder if I could fly, you know, and I was thinking, what a stupid thing to think.
God.
You'd end up falling down the stairs, break your leg or something like that. But
Yeah.
it's funny how your imagination when you're a kid, you think, you know, I mean, some
Yeah.
things are dangerous, you know, but you think, I wonder if it's possible to, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, that
Mad.
was a stupid idea, but he was so impressed with TV, you know, because TV was quite new in those days. So, you know, it was the early days of television, you know, which were rather peculiar looking objects, you know. And
Yeah.
we always thought, there's somebody in that telly, you know, there's somebody, you know, and then a dot comes on the thing, you know, I think it's a monster. It used to frighten us when we went to bed, you know, because it took ages to disappear, this little dot. and
Oh, fantastic. That's what the imagination is all about, though, isn't it? And of course, all this has led to some wonderful music, as you quite rightly pointed out. It's all been about the songs as well, hasn't it? You're still performing, so which songs would you say then really are your favourites? Which ones still? I mean, is the Christmas one your favourite? Possibly not. Tell me which ones you really love.
the Christmas one speaks for itself. It's a song to be very, very proud of. It's a song that it resonates with everybody at this time of year in December, and
Yeah.
it's a great honour to be remembered. But Slade is not just for Christmas. Slade's for life, really. That's what it is. And so you've got to think in the terms of the body of work that we actually did, the albums we made, and we made a film called Slade in Flame.
Yeah.
We had a wonderful album, like a soundtrack to the film. We had a wonderful song called How Does It Feel, which wasn't a big hit, but was one of Noel Gallagher's favourite tracks, he told me. And it's a great song. So that's
It's a lovely song. I love
and
that one.
it's just a song that never dates because it's always on about like a future thing, you know.
How does it feel running around, round, round? How does it feel watching from upside down? 'Cause many years from now there will be new sensations and new temptations. How does it feel? How does it feel right at the start? And how does it feel when you are thrown apart? 'Cause many years from now there will be new relations and new frustrations. How does it feel? Oh, oh. Do you know what it's like to be searching in your own time? All you're attempting, experimenting, all on the climb. Do you know what it's like to be searching and suddenly find all your illusion, all your confusion, all left behind? How does it feel turning away? And how does it feel facing another day? 'Cause many years from now there will be new poisons and new horizons. How does it feel? Oh, oh, oh. Do you know what it's like to be searching in your own time?
Hi there, this is Dave Hill, and you're listening to CATtales, and they're really good tales. In the 70s, we had a roster of rock tracks, right, mingled in with 'Cause I Love You, and we had the misspelling, which obviously was a Midlands dialect. It was almost like the early days of text messages.
Yes,
And
that's
we
right.
and I think we were, nobody had phones in those days, but used to write like a text on a, like Swark, sent with a
Loving
a
kiss.
kiss or something.
Yeah.
A loving kiss, Walker, and in a way it's an abbreviation, but also that when you said the words like cause I love you, you don't say because I love you. It was always cause I love you, and
Yeah.
and they thought, C-U-Z, love, L-U-V, and that's what kids would write at school, and it seemed to be a stimulus of an idea. They call it phonetic spelling, which is a bit of a posh word, and I couldn't even spell that anyway. But I'll probably edit it. But it's a way of Midland people, growing up in factories and talking with, a dialect, sort of, because it was things like, they don't go, I went up the bank. It was sort of like, I went up the bonk, or are you coya, warrior, and funny words in a Black Country dialect. And it was almost like trying to spell the word the way it sounds. And it was just an experiment. I only thought, just use that on that song. We didn't think about it. But it's sort of like, it got a reaction, you see.
Yeah.
And they thought, the next song was Take Me Back Home, or which is O-M-E, you see. So it's a bit another Midland thing. And then it went on from there. And of course, it did cause some problems later on, because the education got onto us, saying we were teaching kids to misspell.
Oh,
And
no.
It's sort of like, because we have an impact on teenagers, because if you wear something, they want to wear what you're wearing, or
Absolutely.
it's just. But I think it was wonderful, Top of the Pops. I mean, my sister came one time. I was dancing around the back, and all of it, and we used to always make sure we had T-shirts, you see, and it was particularly good with my sister, because she got a big bust, and she could have Slade across the front, you see, because the cameraman pick up on it,
Yeah.
But, my sister's totally, into, well, she's like me, she's a show off, and she's theatrical as well. She's yes. Definitely very theatrical, and so coming to the Top of the Pops is a big deal, you see, or because you start meeting other stars, you see. Because Carol could go in the audience, then come into the dressing room with us, because she was allowed to do that. So,
I bet she loved it.
And then you got all sorts of people popping in the dressing room. Elton John came in the dressing room with some bottles of champagne, celebrate, doing really well, lads. Here's some champagne. Carol says, look at it, and for me, it's nothing, but, I remember Cliff coming in, he poked his head round the door. I mean, it's Cliff, innit? He went, hi. Hi, I'm Cliff. And I thought, of course you are. He's ever nuts. And he goes, you're going great guns. Oh, yeah, we did good. We did quite a few number ones. He's good, Cliff. So I've met him. And, he's a charming person. But as I say, sometimes you meet your heroes, in Top of the Pops, and people come on, and there was always this the kind of, well, they called it green room, didn't they? But there was a bar upstairs, and it was always like competition, the competition's upstairs, there's various people on the show, and we're always trying to make sure that we look the best. And to make sure that we get to number one. That I mean, the principle, it was good for each other, because we, some people didn't release their records because we got one out, and that was good planning, because there's only so much in an audience that's going to buy records in one go, you see. So I think sometimes clever marketing was also in on the scene, and especially with the straight to number ones.
I believe in woman, my oh my. I believe in loving, my oh my. Don't a woman need a man? Try and catch one if you can. I believe in woman, my oh my. We all need someone to talk to, my oh my. We all need someone to talk to, my oh my. You need a shoulder to cry on. Call me, I'll be standing by. We all need someone to talk to, my oh my. We all need a lot of loving, my oh my. Yeah, a whole lot of loving, my oh my. I could lend a helping hand if you ain't got nothing planned. We all need some loving, my oh my.
Hi there, this is Dave Hill, and you're listening to CATtales. You know, when I did my life story, I wrote a book a few years ago, and I titled it "So Here It Is." You know, like the first few words from the Christmas song. And what I did, which was really fun, a couple of years later, I did an audio version, and I spoke it myself, and it was so hard to do, but so much fun. Because wonderful. I could laugh at all the jokes, but I put all extra bits in it. I mean, if you ever get a chance to hear it, it's on. It's it's something you can stick in the car, but it's like you
Wonderful.
talking to me now. You can hear the sound of my voice. And I think
Superb.
when I was doing it with this guy for the publishing company, he said, "Oh, he said you record quite well," and I was there staring at an iPad with a microphone, and I was doing it for like hours and hours. I had to sort of send out for some Nurofen in the end. I got an aching neck.
Oh, bless you. It's quite hard, though.
Oh, it is. It
Yes.
is. It's really hard, and it's funny who you meet. In many cases, I remember meeting Caroline Katz. Do you know who that is? She's Doc Martin's wife,
Oh, yes.
and
Yep.
and we did a thing. There was a fashion person who was there, and what happened was I was doing. They were showing the film, and she was in the audience, and it was really good because she came in to get a copy of my book, and I thought I know her because I've been watching that show, and you see somebody out of character,
Yes.
and she came in, and I mean she's quite attractive, but she came in and was walking towards me. I thought, no, I know you, and it's usually the other way around. I know you, but the funny thing was, she said when I was 8, I had your hairstyle.
Oh.
And then she was going on about this album, you see, which was the album that set to the film, you see. So she'd been an actress. Anyway, what happened was I got approached because I was always telling stories about the clothes, but nobody ever did a thing on the clothes at an event. So I can't remember down the, not St. Helens. It's down. It's an event anyway. I know the Spencer's house is there. Can't remember exactly where it is. It Port Elliot? Is it? Yeah, I think it was Port Elliot, and they have this big arts and crafts fair. It's a. And so what would be really great is to do a special on you. And Caroline said, "Well, I'd love to interview you." And I said, "Well, I think it'd be really good." And so I gave her a book on Slade, and she then put together a really good package of really bizarre photos, and she put her photograph in there, looking like me, and it was really funny.
Oh,
and
wonderful!
We did it in like a conservatory, which was really like an orangery room, and we did it, and the audience, and it was just non-stop laughing. And I bought a glittery top in, this is what I used to wear. And it was so funny. And then the historian said to me, he said, "Do you know what? We should do a book on your clothes." And she's written it all up. It hasn't come out yet, but she just said, "Oh, that'd be a really good idea," because nobody really has done anything like that. I said, "No." And she obviously is a fashion historian. She knows her stuff. She's great. I mean, really good. And so it's another thought anyway. But as I say, it's just little bits and bobs that maybe turn out to be a possibility.
You've got to take them.
Bring it out next year. But I mean, why not?
That's brilliant.
That's the thing, is just capture something in time. You see,
is.
I mean, most people.
It is. I was thinking the same thing about you've got a new box set out, haven't you, as well?
Oh, we have. Yes, it's on BMG. It's particularly live albums, right?
Yeah.
Reading Festival, Victoria Hall, Hucknall Miners Welfare, which is a funny gig, but it was really good. Reading Festival was quite important because that was a big comeback for us when we played Reading, because we weren't having hits anymore during the end of the 70s, and when we went on Reading, we weren't actually supposed to be on it. Ozzy Osbourne was supposed to do it, but he couldn't do it because the band wasn't ready, so we filled in. And we went an absolute storm, and of course they wanted to do the Christmas song, and this is August, right? So we just says, "Oh, I'll tell you what, we're not playing it, you lot sing it." And they all sang it. It sounded fantastic. So they've recorded that, so you've got that to listen to in that box set. There's some really good stuff showing you how well we played in those days when we were young. And the other thing you always notice is how fast you play, even the hits. You always, they always seem to be faster than the record, because the record doesn't.
The adrenaline, isn't it? I suppose with that live performance, and
It is,
the crowd and everything.
Yeah, that's right. But it was really nice, and I remember when we did Reading, and Chaz was standing at the side of the stage, grinning like a Cheshire cat. And he said, "I told you, you go down Stormy." He said, "The trouble is, a lot of the bands that were on the festival hadn't got any hits, really. They were just getting known. But of course, we got on a load of hits. I mean, we didn't play for that long, so we couldn't do all the stuff, but we did the poignant ones. And that box set is a really good sound. There's something else that's out as well. It's Merry Christmas, Everybody, and it's a 12-inch coloured vinyl. So that's another thing that BMG is working on as well. So it's all good stuff. I mean,
it is, isn't it? Right in time for Christmas as well. Perfect for lovely presents.
I mean, vinyl's popular, so it's quite.
It's a big comeback, hasn't it? Really, so that's a really lovely. Superb. Oh, it sounds like everything is going so well, and I do say to people they must come and see you live, because you still cut a fabulous figure up there on stage, Dave. You can still do it.
Well, yes, I like to think I can still do it.
You can.
And when if, as I say, I don't think about when I want to stop, but if I don't enjoy it, then I would stop. And I think while I still enjoy it, I just think, and it's just like talking to people like you, you talk to the media, you're enjoying what you're doing, and there's nothing false about me. You get what you get with me, and
absolutely.
And it's just, and you've got a head full of stories, because there's so many funny things that happen to you in life, in show business, because there's no business like show business, is it?
That is so true.
But really, it's bringing joy to people, bringing memories. You don't go on stage and do album, do you? You go on stage and you play what people want to hear.
Yeah.
Being in a band, it's not like a normal 9 to 5. Not at all. It never has been, actually. It's late or too early, or delayed.
Oh, David, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. I'm so pleased we've got the sound sorted. Oh, you have a lovely, lovely evening, and we'll definitely do this again another time. Thank you for listening to me, Cat, and my guest today, Dave Hill. The Slade tracks featured are Come On Feel the Noise, 'Cause I Love You, Far, Far Away, How Does It Feel, and My Oh My. For more information about Dave and Slade, visit davehillslade.com. And to listen to this again and to other tales, visit cattales.co.uk.
You've been listening to CATtales.